Hello and welcome back to the Western European DPC coverage of the WePlay Kiev Major going on. Today was the fourth and final day of the group stage, and we finally have our solidified positions on the leaderboards. Starting off the day, we had PSG LGD and VG Gaming facing off against one another, and at this point, each of them had already clinched a spot into the playoffs. VG Gaming was trying to play for that last upper bracket spot, whereas PSG LGD had already secured themselves that upper bracket position. VG Gaming needed to win at least one of their games, and hopefully two if they wanted to secure themselves that upper bracket spot, or at least give themselves a better chance. And they were able to split the series 1-1. So they had to hope that Nigma was going to lose both of their games today if they wanted to force a tiebreaker for that last upper bracket spot. But unfortunately for them, that did not happen. We'll get into that. Next up, we had Team Spirit versus TNC Predator, where Team Spirit were fighting for their tournament lives. They needed to win as many games as possible to make sure that Team Liquid were not able to catch them, as they were tied for second last place in the group stage. And TNC Predator at that point were one win away from securing themselves a spot in the lower bracket. And each team come away from the series with a little bit of what they wanted. Team Spirit put themselves one game ahead of Team Liquid heading into Team Liquid's last series, and TNC Predator secures themselves a spot in the playoffs officially. I think it was very unlikely that they were going to get booted out of their spot, but getting that last win was a nice insurance for them. Next up, we had Team Nigma versus Beast Coast, so the last place team of the group playing against the second place team of the group, and that went about how you expect. Beast Coast had to win both of their games today against Team Nigma in order to keep their tournament hopes alive, and alas, they were not even able to win one. After they lost that first game, they were officially the first team to be eliminated from the tournament, and that second game against Team Nigma really just looked like a pub for them. I know that they talked about that a lot during the cast, but they had picked these like solo kill heroes like Slark, and they just weren't really playing together as a team. They're kind of just treating it as a pub. I'll give them credit, they really didn't call GG early or anything. They actually waited pretty late to call the GG, but alas, they get 2-0'd there, so they're officially knocked out. And with that 2-0, that secures Nigma that second spot in the upper bracket. So super exciting news for them. After they finished second place in the wild card, they are now going into the upper bracket into the playoffs, where after the tiebreaker that they had today, they announced a schedule for the playoffs. They're going to be playing against Virtus Pro in the first round of the upper bracket, and that's going to be on Wednesday. The upper bracket starts Wednesday, lower bracket starts on Thursday. And finally, for our last series of the day was Liquid versus EG. EG at this point was already safe in the lower bracket. It was a matter of Team Liquid needing to match Team Spirit series today, where they needed at least one win to keep their tournament hopes alive. And heading into that game one, something that Blitz said a few years ago that has really resonated with me is a sign that a team is getting better across a tournament is learning from another team's mistakes. Well, Team Nigma made the mistake yesterday of not first phase banning Ice's Broodmother in their series against EG, and they paid for it. And notably, Liquid again did not do that, and they got first phase brooded by evil geniuses, and they lost. So now you're one game down in a series that you need to get at least one win because you made the fatal mistake of not banning Ice's Broodmother in the first phase. But luckily, they were able to finally win a game without Sumail's TA. Up to this point, all four of their wins had come from a Sumail TA. And with this win, they were able to finally tie Team Spirit for the second last position in the group stage. Both of these teams notably are heading into this tiebreaker coming off of a win, as they both won their second game in that series. And Team Liquid were running a very similar draft to the one that they just beat EG with. They were running the Mickey Luna along with a Sumail Invoker, and they were able to get themselves very far ahead. It was looking sure for them that they were going to win this game, but alas, the high ground defense was too good from Team Spirit, and they ended up having the better late game draft in that scenario. The Drow versus Luna matchup, and the one downfall of Luna is she doesn't match up very well 1-1 against these hard carries, and she really excels in the mid game when she has that second core next to her buffing her up, which is the Invoker. But the Invoker plus Luna at one point was not enough to withstand the Drow Ranger plus Tide Hunter plus Puck, and after having a huge lead, they end up losing this game, and they become the second team to officially be eliminated from the group stage, the sixth team to be eliminated from the tournament. And now they look to the European qualifiers, where they have to play against teams like OG, Tundra, Brame, and all of them, and possibly even more depending on how the rest of this tournament unfolds. But we'll get more into that when we cover their half of the board later. Taking a look at the standings now, we finished the group stage with PSG LGD topping the leaderboards, finishing off with 11-3 after splitting the series today against VG. In second place, we have Team Nigma finishing with a 10-4 record, of course, winning that series against Beast Coast 2-0 today. VG Gaming, the sole possessor of that third position in the group stage, they go 8-6. EG and TNC are tied fourth place with an even record of 7-7. Team Spirit finishing in sixth place, the last place to make it out of this group stage after winning that tiebreaker. They have a tied record with Team Liquid of 5-9. And finally, Beast Coast, who were not able to win any single series. They go 3-11, and they are going home as well. Taking a look at the first team on the board today, as per usual, that is Team Nigma. They managed to hold their second place position throughout the entire group stage, apart from that first day where they were technically tied for first place with 3 other teams. Since then, they have been second place only behind PSG LGD, and they have been the only team to hold that spot since then. Like I've mentioned a few times already, they 2-0'd their only series of the day. Every single team today played only one series. They played that one against Beast Coast where they won that one 2-0. Notably different to yesterday where Mars was first phase banned against them every single game. This time it was DK that was banned against them in the first phase in the 2 games that they played, so they got Mars in each of them. However, opposed to Mind Control playing in both of the games today, Miracle actually played out once in the mid lane. Team Nigma had drafted a Batrider, which we can only assume was going to go mid before Beast Coast picked the Chris Lux Slark in order to counter it, so Miracle ended up taking the Mars mid. Mind Control took the Batrider to the off lane. So looking at the heroes list now, that brings Team Nigma's Mars to a 10-2 record, played 11 times by Mind Control, once by Miracle. Notably, the other 4 heroes on this board were also the most played by the end of yesterday for Team Nigma, and they didn't play a single one of them today. So all of their records staying the same. Invoker 6-1. We have the DK, which was 6-1 as well. Lion 6-0, and AA 4-2. And might I say, Kuroki's Enchantress has been absolutely insane. This is the second game of 4 that he's played Enchantress where he went beyond godlike. This guy had 8 kills in the first 8 minutes of the game as a position 4 Enchantress. He was solo killing the enemy Juggernaut at 8 minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if Kuroki's Enchantress is either going to be seen more or banned more against Team Nigma come playoff time. Notably as well, Team Nigma continue to popularize Rubik and Luna as they continue to be undefeated on both of those heroes, even despite the panel and casters mainly hating on this Luna hero because of how lukewarm its performance was during the regular season. ILTW continues to shine on that hero as he continues to be undefeated on the Luna. Looking at the most banned by Team Nigma, continuing to the top of the charts like they have the past 4 days, is Broodmother, Templar, and Nyx Assassin. Broodmother with 18 bans now, Templar with 13, and Nyx Assassin getting 1 ban today, so that brings it up to 9. And the most bans against, not a surprise, it's still IO with 20 out of 25 games that they've played has been first phase banned. After yesterday, behind the IO was the AA, the Mars, and the Ursa. And after today, Ursa has now got himself ahead of the other 2. Next up, we have AA, Puck, Mars, and Morphling all tied at 8 bans each. Notably, that Mars was banned once after the wildcard stage against Team Nigma. It has now been banned 7 times against them in this group stage. Taking a look now at their win rates, they continue to excel in all fronts. Starting off with first pick, they are 7-4 for a 64% win rate there, and last pick being 10-4. On Radiant, they are an incredible 12-3 for an 80% win rate on Radiant at the moment. And on Dire, they're an even 5-5. Looking at the combinations of the 2, on Radiant first pick, they are still 2-0, as they have not opted for that orientation very much at all. Whereas on last pick Radiant, they are 10-3. On first pick Dire, they are 5-4 for a positive 55% win rate, and on last pick Dire, they are 0-1. So there's a very clear prioritization of which orientation they want, where it seems that whenever they have the choice, they take Radiant, and thus the other team takes first pick, since first pick seems to be the stronger option in this patch. And then when they don't have priority and the other team takes Radiant, they take first pick for themselves and they end up on Dire. Only 3 of the 25 games that they played were they first pick Radiant or last pick Dire. And now looking at their game win rates, they are now 8-4 on both game 1 and game 2 for a 67% win rate on each. So yes, they finished off the group stage with a 10-4 record, finishing second place only behind PSG LGD, and they have secured themselves a spot in the playoffs upper bracket, and they play against Virtus Pro in the first round. Team Nigma need at least top 6, potentially more depending on how other teams do in this major, and so winning the first round against Virtus Pro would get them that top 6 right there. Super important series. I'm going to be doing a preview of that series later tonight, so be sure to check that out. And I'm also going to be doing a preview of Team Alliance, who are playing against PSG LGD, the first place team of this group stage. So be sure to check that out as well. Now moving on to the second team of the day, that is Team Liquid. And like I said, they managed to match Team Spirit's performance today, which forced a tiebreaker. And they even looked very good in this tiebreaker until it was a throw. Notably, it was the high ground defense of Team Spirit and that one really bad team fight in the Dire Triangle that ultimately is what took out Team Liquid at this group stage. So yes, looking at their series, that game 1 against Evil Geniuses was the exact same recipe that Evil Geniuses used against Team Nigma yesterday that, like I had mentioned, Team Liquid clearly did not learn from. Evil Geniuses opening with the Broodmother Hoodwink was ultimately enough to propel them to another victory. And at this point, this is certainly enough evidence that teams are going to be first phase banning Broodmother every single game against Evil Geniuses. Looking at their most heroes played now, of course, same as yesterday, topping the charts is their Templar Assassin, which is 4-2. Notably, before their series against Evil Geniuses, all 4 of their wins that they had were on Sumail's TA, which evidently was banned first phase against them in all 3 games they played today, so they were not able to get that. Next up on the list is Insania's Oracle, which he got twice today, which he went 1-1 with, ending off with a 4-2 record on that. And Snapfire, they did not play today, but they ended off 3-2 with that. Played 3 times by Taiga, twice by Insania. Next up is their Enchantress, which they played in their tiebreaker today against Team Spirit, and they were 0-3 on that hero. So as opposed to the regular season where their Enchantress went, I think, 4-3, they go 0-3 on that now. So maybe being a little bit less reliable than they thought. And then finally, they had their Axe, which went 1-2. That was played twice by Mickey. Mickey won that one game on Axe. The other game was played by Quickfa. Looking at their most banned heroes by Team Liquid, they have banned a total of 43 different heroes. After yesterday, it was Nyx Assassin, Viper, and then Timber Wraith King. And at the end of today, it's Nyx Assassin, Viper, and Timbersaw. And now looking at the heroes most banned against Team Liquid, they've had a total of 48 different heroes banned against them. After yesterday, it was Oracle, Enchantress, Spectre, Broodmother, Faceless Void, and AA. And after the conclusion of the group stage, the hero most banned against them was Enchantress, Oracle, Broodmother, and Morphling. Looking at their win rates now, like I've been saying for the past 3 days, their highest win rate during the regular season was on Dire. And finally, after yesterday, they were getting a lot of success on Dire. They went 3-0 on Dire yesterday, and so they played all 3 games they played today on Dire, assuming that's what they are prioritizing, but they only managed to go 1-2 in it today. So jumping into it, on first pick, they go total 2-5. On last pick, they go 3-5, so neither of them looking very good right there. On Radiant, they go 1-4. They've only played 1 game on Radiant since that first day. On Dire, they finish 4-6 for a 40% win rate. And on the combination of the 2 first pick Radiant, they go 0-1. On last pick Radiant, they go 1-3. On first pick Dire, they go 2-4 for 33% win rate. And they actually go even on last pick Dire for 2-2. And finally, their game 1 win rate, which in comparison to the regular season where they didn't lose a single game 1, they had 100% win rate on game 1s. They win 1 of their 7 game 1s in this group stage. And in game 2s, where they usually struggled in the regular season, they actually excelled with a 4-3 record for a 57% win rate in game 2. This is the only good record they have on this entire win rate board. So yes, overall, very shaky tournament for Team Liquid, and a lot more disappointing than I think a lot of people were expecting. And this forces them into the European qualifiers now. After dropping out of this tournament in the group stage, they officially do not have enough DPC points to make it to TI simply based on points. So they enter the qualifier tournament, which involves teams like OG, Brame, and Tundra, like I was mentioning, and also the likes of teams like Team Nigma that might make it there if they don't manage to finish top 6 or even higher than that in this major. So pretty devastating news for Team Liquid overall. Playing against teams like that in a qualifier where there's only 1 slot available for TI is super deadly. So all they can do is practice really hard and hope for the best. Again, this is one of my favorite teams to watch, and it's really disappointing to see them drop out this early. And it's really disappointing to think that they have to play against the 2-time defending TI champions in order to get back to TI. And by that point, I don't think Sumail is going to be playing for them anymore. But yes, sights ahead for the qualifiers for TI for Team Liquid. Again, a disappointing results in this group stage, but thank you guys so much for watching today. This was my day 4 and final day review of the group stage. I'm going to be having previews for both Team Nigma and Team Alliance's first round of the upper bracket, either coming up tonight or in the next few days. Again, the upper bracket starts this Wednesday, and then the lower bracket starts this Thursday. Be sure to leave a like and a suggestion and a prediction on how you think Wednesday is going to end up going, and which teams you think are going to be moving on that first round of the upper bracket. Be sure to leave all that in the comments down below, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye.